How good is Sae Itoshi? Now, if anybody knows me or has been on this channel, you have probably seen me somewhat diss Sai or give him low lights in a way. Basically, not giving him the respect and props he deserves. And this isn't necessarily because I dislike the character, it's because of his fan base. Now, getting into this video, we are going to discuss how good Sae Itoshi really is as of him currently. Not in a sense of where he will be at the end of the series or what his real, true skills really are. Because of course he was holding back during the U20 game. I have never discredited that. I do think he was holding back in the U20 game. And if you're asking for reasoning, it's pretty consistent that players that aren't trying or usually just holding back are usually shown sweating throughout the entire game. I'm building this consistency with Sai first, then Kaiser and Lorenzo, and characters like that just don't sweat during games. And then we see what Kaiser eventually, once he's pushed to his brink, he starts sweating because he's starting to try against these better players. But basically, this entire video will be going over of where do I think Sai is right now with everything he's showcased so far. And I'll also be touching up on a few things, and that's pretty much all this video has in store. So let's lock in for a little bit. All right, so starting off with Sae Itoshi. He is a new generation 11 player, and he is one of the best midfielders that we've seen so far in the series. This player is capable of very sharp passes. He has a higher level of spatial awareness and has hinted at to have meta vision, which is kind of under speculation, but it's a high chance that he has it with the way he was playing. Sae Itoshi is not only a good passer, but he's also a good dribbler, being stated to being able to destroy players beautifully, which is the polar opposite of Ren. So paired with this, he also has a beautiful curve shot, which is kind of a thing that actually stems from his passing, I would say, right? So he has all of these weapons. He's also very good at defense. Now, his performance against the U20 team was nothing else to say but superb. It was honestly a spectacle to see him run circles around the undeveloped U20 team, right? But this does bring up a few questions due to the fact that this undeveloped U20 team was still able to secure a win on Sae Itoshi. And why is this? Now, this is a multitude of factors, with Sae Itoshi just being paired with a team that you could consider not that good. The U20 Japan team was strictly known for its defense and nothing else, because we get a bunch of these good defenders, but these strikers like Sendo aren't, just like, they're not cutting it, right? So you can kind of say Sae Itoshi was at a disadvantage, but throughout the majority of the game, he was pretty much putting Blue Lock on skates. And honestly, the biggest factor in this game for Sae Itoshi on the opposite team was Ren, his younger brother, his polar opposite. Now, he dominated Ren the entire game up until we get into Ren's awakening. And when Ren awakens, he turns into an entirely different player. His concentration is way higher. If you actually didn't know that, Ren's destroyer mode is basically just him on a higher level of concentration. He's not actually getting like physically stronger or faster, but it's just a higher level of concentration, and his techniques get boosted majorly, right? So during the last ending play, where Ren was able to fully keep up with this Sai did definitely tap into flow. Now, I'm not going to be one of those people that is going to be like, oh, well, he's tapping into flow, so he's fully trying, right? But I do think this is a higher level of his normal state that he's been throughout the entire game, right? So Ren is able to get the ball from this higher state of play Sai. So in terms of this, the entire point of me talking about this was to just bring up the fact that Sae Itoshi in terms of, physical level and, his dribbling to Ren's defense. I would consider them to be pretty even, with Sai having the edge over him and everything else. But there are aspects that Ren is, I would say, physically better than Sai in, like strength and speed and etc. I put them around the same level. But why I'm bringing this up is because he shows relativity to Ren as of that moment, right? And then we get into the Neo Eagles League with all these crazy players, all these crazy level ups, and I honestly do want to bring up Kunagami. Kunagami is, the striker that came out the wild card and one of the top 10 in the NEL when it finished, right? Kunagami came out and we get a look at his stat sheet, and all of his stats are insane. Same thing with Kaiser outside. So personally, what I usually point this to is saying that everybody, or at least the starting players, like the really good players coming into the NEL, are already physically way more capable than everybody in that U20 game, including the Blue Lock 11 and the U20 Japan, because they've upgraded so much and it took them weeks to catch up on it, like just on a physical level, weeks to catch up. These games are weeks in between each other, so they're constantly training every day to get to this level that everybody else is on, right? So basically what I'm trying to paint is that everybody in the NEL, or at least the most superstar players, are just upscaling everybody in the U20 Japan and Blue Lock 11 team. Let it just be off of physicals or skills and techniques. I do want to bring up Hiyori. Hiyori is another really good point. Hiyori in the U20 Japan's team, and the U20 Japan team game, was considered to have relative or the exact same level of precision of passing or level of passing that Sae Itoshi has. Now, Hiyori, I do want to clear up. Hiyori is a bench warmer. He did bench warm for like 3 games, but in the Ubers game and the PXG game, you could consider him, getting better. Hiyori still trained through those weeks and upcoming, and you could say that, he goes in the flow and he gets better, he gets sharper, right? And I think you can see where I'm going with this. I think that at some point you can make the argument that Hiyori could probably have better passing than Sae Itoshi. And again, before everybody gets upset, this is not Sai. This is not where I truly think Sai is. This is where he would be at just off of everything he showcased, right? And it would make sense for Hiyori now being better, more trained, more actually motivated to play soccer with Isagi, to have better passing, which would upscale him through that little side statement that Sendo gave. I'm pretty sure it was Sendo gave it. On top of this fact, we also do have to address the elephant in the room, which is the Sae Itoshi narrative with his shadow, or I don't really know what people really call it, but basically what appeared to Ren in the PXG game, right? And I want to break this down as simple as possible. This is not a viable use to put Sai over anybody. I'm saying this specifically because this is more of a Ren thing, right? This is Ren's mental state, right? So Ren can think Sai is the best. Technically speaking, he can think Sai is the best. But I don't think that's technically an argument for Sai actually being the best, if you guys can understand what I'm saying, right? I think that Ren can think Sai is better and still be better to him if his feats are contradicting this. If Ren is playing and destroying somebody like Kaiser and Isagi, 2 players that had to combine to even keep up with him, I think that the argument can clearly just be made that Ren still looks up to Sai because that's his older brother. But in reality, Ren has far surpassed him as far as the U20 Japan team side goes. He has far surpassed them. He is destroying a player that is also a new Gen 11 on top of that, has been performing insanely the entire Neo Eagles League, right? So that's kind of how I debunked that Sai Psy Phantom statement and the narrative around it, right? But that kind of concludes us to the end where I actually say, you know, where he's at. So I'm not wasting all of your time. I think Sae Itoshi is still one of the best players in Blue Lock. I think he's one of the best midfielders in Blue Lock. But I won't sit here and change my take that he's not top 5 as of right now. And that's just U20. That's just like under the 20 Ys. Like, I don't think he's top 5. I think that Sae Itoshi on a midfielder aspect is top 5. I think on a midfielder aspect he's top 5. So now actually talking about where Sae Itoshi would be at, I truly think that he is one of the best players. But ranked wise, I would have him barely scratching top 10. And it's kind of, you would have to go through some circles for him to even be on the same level as somebody like Lorenzo and Kaiser when they've showcased a multitude of feats that I think are better than anything he's showcased, right? So that's pretty much my just take on it. I wanted to make a video about this because, well, first I just hadn't uploaded in a while. If y'all peeped, I ain't uploading a little bit, but this is just my take on Sae Itoshi. Anybody's very free to correct me on it. I'm not God. I'm not right all the time. I could be wrong, and if that's the case, comment down below and hey, I'll listen to you. And if you're logically making sense, I'll hear you out. And because I know most of you guys that watch me aren't dumb. I have really good subscribers that aren't dumb. You guys are pretty intelligent. So if y'all think otherwise, you have good logical reasoning, I'll listen to you and I won't be ignorant. But if you did like this video or this type of content, I recommend that you subscribe to me, and I really appreciate it if you like the video. And I will see you guys when I'm done editing this. Peace.